Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So this is day 7. It's going to be day 7, our strength day today. So overall plan for today is we've got our weighted pull-ups, our weighted dips into our weighted, and if you saw my previous video, I talked about how I'd quite like to actually try, instead of doing the weighted sort of step ups, which until I can find my squat shoes, I'm feeling like my ankle mobility is becoming a little bit of an issue of me being able to safely and effectively work my legs. Like, I can feel it in my legs, all well and good, but I kind of feel like I'm not able to push it as hard as I could because I'm not able to sort of do the movement as well as I would like. I mean, I'd probably be able to get sort of a similar benefit if I lowered the box for the left leg, so I wasn't having to lean so far forward and I could have a little bit more maybe support with the other leg. The right leg is fine, I'm able to do the step ups, no problem. The left leg, I can do them, but it just kind of feels like my balance due to the ankle mobility and being able to come down that deep on that size box, I'm kind of feeling like I'm having to like rock, and then sometimes I'm having to hold on to the side to be able to get that. So obviously there's an issue that I need to spend some extra time on doing that ankle mobility, but spending that time doing that each time I do sort of step ups is going to add a good maybe 10-15 minutes on top of my current warm-up, which is long enough as it is, and it's not exactly going to be the best viewing for you. So after doing the Bulgarian split squats on that hypertrophy day, I was like, wow, these feel really good, especially when I did the step ups and then skipped that and sort of did like the resistance bands Bulgarians and then sort of did a superset with them, and it felt really, really good. And I was a bit like, I wonder what these would feel like doing these for sort of like the legs, but like weighted. Like, will I be able to really still hit the leg really efficiently, get that strength in there, and then the balance or the lack of ankle mobility in my left ankle isn't a factor of, you know, possibly limiting how far I can go or how much work I can get done. Where so that means I can really get the tension on the legs, really stress them, and hopefully get, you know, bigger, stronger legs. I mean, I reckon if I don't know where my squat shoes are. I don't know if they're in my car somewhere. I haven't seen them for a while. If I were to put them on, like, I'd be able to do it. But sometimes I find if I use the squat shoes and I haven't used them for a while, they take a little bit getting used to because they slightly elevate your feet, so like your center of gravity slightly is a little bit further forward. And sometimes when I used to use them, they would aggravate my knee a little bit. So I'm like, again, let's just adapt it. I've got this base bench here, like I spent money on this, let's use it. So we're gonna do that. Doesn't mean I'm not gonna do them for the hypertrophy day, because obviously, you know, I'm trying to lift as heavy as I can, and as I start getting heavier and heavier and heavier, I don't want to be lifting an external load, something that's a high intensity, doing that if I haven't got the stability there. Like, I feel like I've got the stability, strength in my knee to be able to lift it properly, but obviously my body's having to move and adapt the movement to make up for that lack of ankle mobility. So, you know, it might be something where I'm gonna have to spend a little bit of time outside of working out to try and work on that. But even when I've worked on it in the past with those, what they're called, banded, they had a name that you would use them for, where, you know, come down, I think it's the talus bone or something like that, but basically the ankle impingement that I've got at the front, I try with doing stuff like that. Sometimes I'll get a little bit of extra mobility, but sometimes that mobility would just be right then and now. And then sometimes when you just want to sort of crack on and get a workout done, to feel like you have to go and spend, you know, 10-15 minutes isolated just on one joint, and you then have to work out the rest of your body. You know, I'll admit this, sometimes I can't be arsed, and the extra work to go into it when I can just swap the exercise, it's quite attractive. Do you know what I mean? Something like I said, I love the step up's brilliant, and I think it's a great movement, but sometimes I don't want to spend an extra 15 minutes just warming up that ankle, trying to get that little bit of mobility back, or gain a little bit of mobility to sort of do a movement. I'm kind of thinking, not really sure it's worth the time and effort to doing it when I could just literally just do some of these. So as lazy as that sounds, there is a reasoning behind it. So sometimes we just got to work with what we've got. And you know, maybe if I wasn't working out as often, or I had a bit more time, or I wasn't filming my workouts, I might be like, okay, I don't mind spending a little bit of time doing it. But for now, I'm focused on strength. Bugger it, let's just do these. And I said, when I did these on Wednesday, they felt really good. Like I said, I'm able to get, well, it's nice here because I'm getting a good stretch in my hip flexor on the opposite leg. I'm still getting a fairly deep range of motion here, and I can really drive through. And I'm feeling it in the entirety of my leg, and there's no, damn, I can't get that depth there. But like I said, normally I would try and find somewhere to put a band attached to, probably my air bike, and I'd put it along here, and then it's just trying to drive it through. But I'm not really feeling a stretch here, so the huge, like, locked up here. And I'd get like a kettlebell, stick it on my knee, and try and hope that that weight would allow me to push through. And sometimes I'd probably be able to gain half to maybe an inch extra movement, but it still isn't enough to really try and take advantage of this movement in the form that I'm doing. If I'm just gonna do this and just sort of step up into it, you know, that's not gonna be as much of an issue. So maybe on the hypertrophy day, that'll be that sort of style step up I'll do, as opposed to this kind of elevated pistol squat I guess we're trying to do. So if I actually step up onto it, the ankle mobility isn't as much because I'm going forward and my body weight's going forward. So yeah, but again, this is what this program is about. It's learning how to adapt and just going what allows us to get the most out of the time. So as I've stated before in the past, the legs are a hard exercise to really overload when it comes to bodyweight calisthenics. But because we're doing this weighted now, we can really drive on the strength. I'm still going to be doing a movement that I can try and overload the legs and get stronger. And sort of said, this Bulgarian split squat, still a really good movement to do. And I feel it's still going to be able to get what we want. So I've kind of done a little bit of a warm up there again, like as I always do. Use the bands to get mainly the back muscles going, but that sort of scapula. So we've got the rows, we've got the sort of pulls. I've started incorporating that overhead pressing there, again to get that shoulder elevation and depression going on, while also warm up that shoulder and getting that overhead sort of mobility, and then a little bit of the chest moving as well, with a few bander parts to sort of hit that mid back and get those sort of muscles warming. I really do need a thinner band, because I did really used to like doing that sort of external rotation stuff, but that I have to come all the way down here to do it, and I'm not really getting much there. So I could do with getting a really, really thin band. And then I used to like doing this movement where I guess I could kind of do it with these. This might be an all right sort of thickness. And I would kind of, it would start off like a front raise into kind of like a Y, and then you could try and build that stability in the shoulder, because you have to try and lower and try and control the band even when you go above you and sort of behind. You're having to control it the whole time, and obviously at the same time you're trying to pull those bands apart, and it just feels really good on trying to turn on those muscles in and around the shoulder joint that stabilize it, to kind of teach them to engage. And sometimes when we're getting shoulder pain or shoulder weakness or anything like that, sometimes it's just the muscles aren't turning on, they're not activating to get us sort of working to stabilize it. So again, that can be a really good movement to lose. And obviously then a few sort of Bulgarian split squats just to get the legs moving. So let's try a few warm up on the pull-ups. So I don't know if you saw my latest video, power workout. I mentioned in there how I wanted to have the full weekend off, to actually recover, because from the weekend before, I kind of went for as you do, a little 10-mile run. And I think that kind of wiped me out a little bit. So when I came in on the Monday for the last strength session, it just kind of didn't feel that great. But on this weekend, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's just a change in the weather, whatever it is, didn't sleep well Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. So today when I woke up, I was like, I've had like 2 days off from physical stuff, but I didn't get the sort of sleep in. So it's kind of like, I feel a bit lethargic, but I'm kind of like, let's get this sort of stuff done today. So depending on how it feels, it's 5 sets of 5 today with 20 kilos. I'm intrigued to see what's going to go on with the Bulgarian split squat, but we'll see. Because sometimes what I like to do, if I look at a session and I think I'm going to struggle today for whatever reason, I like to switch up slightly, so at least I can look at the workout and go, well, I didn't do any worse because it's not the same workout as last time. So sometimes I'll be like, I think 5 sets are going to be hard. Shall I up the weight slightly and stick to just 3 sets? Because I'm still making some improvement. It's still progression on from last time. Because there's less sets, it's less demanding. Because sometimes it's not so much the weight that you're lifting, sometimes it's the volume that can really sort of hit you hard. So I'm just going to see how it feels within the session, see what the weight feels like, and sort of go from there. But I'm still keen on trying to just stick to what I've got. But I mean, I don't know if any of you ever do that. I mean, comment down below if you ever have a situation like that. But like I said, sometimes you have a workout planned and you just feel like, so if you end up doing that same workout and you perform worse, like mentally you just feel like crap. You're like, oh, I'm getting weaker, I'm this and that. And obviously, you know, you're not, you know, there are factors like, you know, sleep, nutrition, all these different things, just general recovery that, you know, are partly probably to blame. It could be dehydration, could be like, that's the thing I struggle with where I work. In some rooms that we're working in, they're 40 degrees. So I'm literally sweating like crazy all day. And sometimes you just can't replace the water fast enough that, you know, it's a good chance I'm gonna get dehydrated by the time I do a workout. And sometimes that's gonna impact my strength, you know? So how do I work around that? Because sometimes, like I said, if I do the same workout and I perform worse, I feel crappy. So how do I make up for that? So it might be, do I add an extra 2.5 kilos in and just do 3 sets? And I'm still making progress, but then, you know, that kind of goes around the progression that I'm trying to have, which is at the minute, it's go from 3 sets of 5 to 5 sets of 5, and that's when we up the weight. So, and my advice for anyone that's following along or sort of doing it themselves, stick to it. You know, I'm not saying you should do what I do. This is just sometimes how like my brain works in the past. You know, I'm not always the best at going from a workout and performing worse, and I feel a bit like I'm going backwards or something's wrong, and I kind of not feel like the workout was crap, you know, or a pointless workout, not like that, but you know, I'm kind of a bit like, feel a bit down on myself. You know, I haven't done any better, I've done worse. So I guess that's my way of trying to trick myself into sort of thinking like I've done better, because again, I'm like, well, I may not have got 5 sets of 5 on 20, but I managed to do 3 sets of 5 on 22 and a half. So really it's still an improvement, especially when I'm aiming for strength. So again, that's how I look at it. I'm not saying that's what you should do, but again, part of this video series is to show you guys how I process things, or how I think what I'm doing through the workout is that. I mean, and that's not very common that I do that. I'm normally I've got a sort of a plan and I follow through with that. So in most cases, what I will probably likely do today will be, I'll just have longer rest and just try and sort of make sure I get the work done. But sometimes when you're feeling like that, it doesn't really matter how much sort of rest you have. Sometimes you just feel lethargic. Like, it's one of those ones. It happens. And as you get older, and again, I'm not old, there's bound to be people that are watching me now that are older than me, but you know, you'll be able to testify that it's as you age on a sort of individual level, your recovery takes longer, or when you have bad sleep, seems to hit yours. I remember just being in my early 20s, like you could have a couple nights bad sleep and be absolutely fine. You could still go to the gym and you could smash a good session. Like now I've hit into my 30s, you have a night, 2 nights bad to sleep, it really does seem to like hit you a little bit harder, to the point where you're a bit like, you feel quite fatigued. It's the price of getting older, I guess. It is what it is. Right, let's get this one on, shall we? So, I am super surprised though, just how comfortable this vest is. Like, considering this has got 20 kilos. Do you know what I mean? And it's, you feel the weight, don't get me wrong, like I'm not, like, but I think it's because I've come from using either a dip belt or the Kenzui one. And although the Kenzui sort of easy vest is a brilliant vest, it is, you know, it's different when you're wearing it. I haven't got one yet, I've got one here. When you're wearing it, you can feel like the weight is, like the plates here and it's loaded, you feel the weight here. Don't get me wrong, you obviously got some padding on the sides and you kind of feel it, but the weight feels very central to here and on the back. This one kind of just feels like it's spaced out as much. So obviously you're kind of reducing the pressure of the weight. So instead of it being like 20 kilos bearing down here, the plate kind of tries to even it. But with this one, it's just a larger area that the weight is placed on. It just kind of feels like it's more spread out. So it just feels, in a way, less, yeah, basically. So this is 20 kilo. So we did our warm up sort of just movements just to get the muscles going again. I don't have to do anything to get warm. This boiling in this conservatory, roll on autumn / winter. So we don't have to worry about getting worn out. We're doing some movements just to get our movement, like sort of, especially like the scapular movement, getting that sort of stuff, get those muscles that we're gonna be using today, get them moving. We then did a couple of sort of body weight warm-up sets. Then we did a 10 kilo weight, because obviously we're aiming for 20 kilos today. We did, I think it was a 10 kilo of weight plate on the dip belt, and I don't have a 10 kilo kettlebell. I think it's a 12 or a 14. So I did that with the on the Bulgarian split squat. Now we got a 20 kilo. So this is our work weight. But as always, do a test rep set to sort of see how that weight feels. Yeah, it feels all right. Yeah, it feels good. It's a really, really good bench. I like it because, like I said, you've got this sort of platform here that you push from that's just solid. It's just a sheet of metal, so it's like, it's a nice strong platform to push off, so it feels comfortable. That feels good. I was slightly concerned because obviously compared to this, where don't get me wrong, I'm probably getting a little bit of support from the other leg. Unless you come down and dead stop and just use your heel, you probably, without knowing it, are driving off your calf a little bit to push off. This one, part of your weight is obviously being taken by that back foam roller, and you never know, there might be a part of you that is kind of like contracting your quad to push off that to come up, maybe without you realizing. I said your body, you know, doesn't always want to work in isolation, but I was worried that maybe this wouldn't be heavy enough. I have put a resistance band there, just like if it's not, slam that on instead of holding on to a kettlebell maybe. But we'll see how that feels. We want it to be taxing. And because I've adapted it, we want to make sure that we're working with the right intensity. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing like that, because I said I did that on that hypertrophy day, volume day. And I went from the resistance band straight into the single sets. And I was like, my legs were on fire. I was like, whoa, these feel good. And like I said, it was nice just working on just the muscle and just really trying to hit it, as opposed to me like, whoa, like trying to work on the balance. Like I said, it's not an issue on like this foot. This feels like not a problem at all. I say that, trying to get my balance. But get a good bit of eccentric there as well. But this one, it's like, unless I rock forward and then drive, I'm coming backwards, because like I said, this will not go forward. And then I start to feel it on my knee, and then my heel slightly comes off the floor. And this knee, I don't know if you can, whether I'll be able to zoom in there, you might be able to see I got quite a big lump there. I think it's called Osgood's or Osgood-Schindler's disease or something like that. I don't have it in my right knee, but I have it in my left knee. But they were like growing pains. So you see, when I was growing up, I couldn't have my knee bent for too long, because I just get really, really bad knee aches. And I know of one, I don't know if any of the others, but one of my brothers has got it. I think he's got it in both knees. But you'll see there's just a big lump right on the end there. And I can feel it's like a big hard lump. So sometimes I have to be careful with that as well, because I get a little bit of knee ache with it. But it is what it is. Most of the time it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me when I go in for a run. But obviously, you know, when you get a pain somewhere, you know, quite a lot of the time, like, especially if it's like movement, like joint pain or pain in muscles, sometimes it's not actually where you're getting the pain, it's actually the site of the issue. Sometimes it's a compensation area. So like if you've got knee pain, a lot of the time it's not because there's an issue with the knee, it's because, again, is it an ankle mobility issue? Is it a hip joint issue? You're having problems in the shoulder? Is it because you've got muscle ache somewhere else, or maybe in the elbow? Different things like that. So sometimes with a site of this, it isn't actually my knee. It's, again, the knee's taking more load because there isn't the mobility in the ankle to take that. So obviously the range of motion, the load is going into a different part of the body. So yeah, but it is what it is. We work with what we've got. Right, weighted full body workout. So game plan is 5 sets of 5 of 20 kilos. And like I said, ideally next Monday, we'll jump, I'm thinking 25 kilos. It's a bigger jump, but then I'm gonna be staying there for a little bit longer. So maybe 25 kilos for sets of 5, but 3 of them, and then build up to sets of 5 by 5. First set, let's see how we get on. Remember as well, these aren't just chin over the bar pull-ups, they're chest to bar, so they are a bit more taxing, so I have to kind of take that into consideration when making my progressions. That'll be something maybe I'll look at. You know, is 5 too much of a jump? I feel good. Do I go heavier? Like, not with the vest, because again, this will be where the Kenzui one is better, but then I don't know if I'll be able to do this movement as well with the plates, whether the plates would hit the top of my leg on that squat. I know it does on this one. I think it might on the Bulgarian, depends on what plate I use, but I could switch and add weights far quicker than this one. Trying to add them on would just be a bit of a pain, really. Or add a resistance band. I haven't tried that purple one yet. Still, and its wrapper, a lot thicker. Why not? Here's me, start the video. Definitely going to be able to get 5 sets of 5 on this one today. Feeling lethargic, feeling weak. And now I'm talking about making the Bulgarian split squat harder. But sometimes that can happen during a workout. Sometimes you feel lethargic and you feel tired and you kind of convince yourself, oh, I've had bad sleep, it's gonna be a bad workout. And you get into it and suddenly new energy comes in. You know, so have these ideas as a contingency, kind of a backup, but you might surprise yourself. Especially because I know this is my last sort of workout with this weight. You know, see how it feels. You know, I remember I even talked about in the previous video of how do I squeeze more out of these reps? Do I stay at 5x5? At 20 kilos. So it becomes harder. Do I start adding in pauses? Problem is with that, sometimes it can just make it harder to track the progression. And obviously from session to session, well, I know I'm doing 20 kilos. If I do 25 kilos, if it's too heavy, I either lower the weight or I stay there until I can do them. So it can be a little bit easier in that regard, but it's probably because it's just a new toy. I'm thinking, oh, I could do that. Then I could add a band in as well. Start doing banded weighted pull-ups. You know, could do. Do I do it on my last set? It's a last ditch effort, squeeze. See how we get on. Right, second set. Again, I want to try and be explosive from the bottom. You know, I'm thinking, you know, as I always say, grip the bar as hard as you can. That fear of irradiation, like if you tense up this muscle, all muscles surrounding it or close to it will turn on as well. I'm really thinking, we're not just pulling up and down, we're pulling and then we're rowing at the same time. So again, it's going to look like an arching movement. And then the whole time we're tensing as much muscles for the entirety of the body as we possibly can. So a really tight, strong unit. And again, this is why I'm hoping that those explosive pull-ups on the power day come in. I'm hoping that those higher volume chest to bar with the chin up, with the other grip, help me sort of get that chest to back work, the little pause that I did at the end. Like, hopefully this will come together. See, in my head there, I'm thinking, oh, that's a good shout. What do I do on those days? Those 3 sets of pull-ups, 1 set pull-up, 1 set neutral, 1 set chin. You know, maybe those last 2 sets that I was feeling a little bit, do I have enough in me to do that? When I do 1 neutral, 1 chin, you know, still doing the movement, still getting the work in. Whoa! I get it over my shoulder. The vest is in the way. Oh yeah, I can feel that. Oh yeah, that felt good. That was a hard band. Again, a new movement. It's gonna be a new stress, adding a bit of extra resistance there. It's all progress. And it's easy to keep track of. Just gotta remember, purple band, well, I've got the weight on. It's easy. But yeah, that might be a good shout. Might be one of those ones where, is that something I should add in to get a little bit of a different stimulus? You know, when I'm doing my 3 sets of 5, 1 set's of pulls, 1 set's of neutral grip, 1 set of chin up. That's what I mean, I'm always thinking about stuff like this. A bit nerdy on it, like, you know, there's still a vertical pulling, but how your body moves slightly, the muscles, percentage of how much muscles kick in, you know. And there's a little bit of variety. I love doing neutral grip pull-ups. They're probably my favorite, like how they feel, especially for chest to bar. So now I'm talking about it, makes you want to do it. But then because they're, I would say, an easier regression, am I taking an easier way out? You know, maybe I still have to make it the bulk of the work is the pull-up. I don't know. This is the problem with all this sort of stuff. It's really, really easy to overthink it. And that kind of paralysis by analysis. You know, is it going to stop me from doing whatever, like, just because I'm over focusing on the things that aren't really that important? You know, nice thing about getting in some neutral grips, some nice forearm work, getting in that chin up, some nice bicep work. Not really going to change too much. It's just one of those ones where it's like, the pull-up's the harder one. If you don't get the volume in doing the pull-up, is your pull-up going to stall? Again, there's lots of ways which we can overthink it. But I think for this, we'll do 1 more set of pulls, pull-ups. I think the 3rd, 4th set, we'll do the neutral grips. 5th set, we'll do some chin-ups. And then, I always like to do a bonus set with the pull-ups. Might do an extra set with the weight and a weighted vest, and maybe do an all-out to failure one. That's probably what's making me feel fatigued, but it's nice to push yourself sometimes, see what your body's made of. That's the thing with the band. It's strange, like, if I'm doing a pull-up, right, I've got 20 kilos on me, right? And I pull myself up. Obviously, I'm feeling the weight of that vest and my body weight. There is a pulling effect, obviously. But when you've what feels like something actively is really pulling against you, it's a weird feeling, especially on the eccentric phase. Like I'm there at the top there and I'm lowering and I'm actively feeling something want to pull me back down. So I don't know if it's as you're pulling, you're feeling that change in the resistance and that's what you're perceiving. You know, like, even though it's not quite the same, but you can get those flat earthers that will say, oh, we're obviously not spinning because otherwise how can we not feel that we're spinning so fast? And some people have explained it's because, you know, we're going at a constant speed. We're going at a constant speed, that's why we can't feel the change. You can feel acceleration, deacceleration. When you're going at the same thing and everything else is doing the same, that's why you don't feel any different. I might not be feeling any different while doing the pull-up with the 20 kilo vest because there isn't a change in the resistance. I'm feeling a resistance band because now the resistance is changing as I move and I'm having to work harder as I'm going through the movement because the intensity is increasing. Might be something like that. I'm not sure. It's good, like I said. This is something I've never really, I've understood the sort of, there are some benefits to doing resistance bands and, you know, I've always had some, but they've always been secondary at best. Maybe they're a bit of occasional work or, you know, I don't really do any like weights or dumbbell stuff. I thought, oh, I could do some, but then I don't do a lot of isolation work either, but I've never really used them in this context before. And I really like it. I think it's again, it's new, whether the novelty you're aware of, I don't know, but it's finding something new that's challenging, that allows me to find another way to progress my training, as opposed to just like, oh, just keep adding weight, and then eventually like, fancy doing something new, you know, where do I go from here? Like this is a nice little thing to be able to add in where I can really make it harder for me and make myself, push myself harder and have another little goal. Like, will I ever be able to get myself to the stage where I can do a chin up with that green one? That green one's heavy. I don't know if it's like the top end of it goes up to 60 kilos. I don't know. Obviously, the more you stretch it, the harder it is. So, but that'd be a pretty sweet goal. Because I do a weighted pull up or a dip with a band on top and push myself even harder. Well, I've got them here. Why not give it a go? Right. Where are they? Over here. Again, these super good for doing your neutral grips. Really comfortable. Obviously I get to pick the width that I want, but just having that extra support, you just feel stronger, and I think it allows you, because you've got that support, to generate more power, more strength. So, all right, fourth set, neutral grips. Yeah, see that? I can pull a lot higher. They were hard though. Yeah. Feel that in my forearms. Let's quickly test. Got a 12 kilo kettlebell here. Let's see what that feels like. Yeah, that's hard. Wow. Wow, yeah, that was hard. That's so nice about those Bulgarian split squats though, is that depending on your body position, how far your feet are away, or just what you're doing with your feet and driving, you can feel it in different portions. Like, I was really feeling that in my hamstrings then. But I can then feel it in my quads too. So it's a really, really good movement. And again, I'm a big fan of unilateral work because of just the sheer carryover it has to everyday life. Like, you know, I'll be the first one to talk about the benefits of barbell back squatting. You know, if you want to get as big, as strong as you possibly can, you know, you're not going to find for lower body a better exercise than the barbell back squat. However, and it does have carryover, like people that have done it, they can jump higher, run faster, leg power, all these sorts of stuff. It does carry over, it does. I'm not saying it doesn't. However, movement wise, it's very rare you're like this and you're moving in this direction. In a lot of cases, again, you're hiking, you're going upstairs, you're doing this movement, unilateral work there. So not only are you training a movement which is probably more functional in a way, you then also get the benefit of unilateral work, having to work stability, balance, all those different things. Like I said, I find it more beneficial for me, and I find it more of a fun way to train. So yeah, really, honestly, I'm quite glad I've switched that out for this and added this in, because I can definitely feel that. It's good movement, and like now, I'm not having to worry about balance or stability in the left leg. I can really focus on maybe going a little bit heavier or really pushing the muscle a bit harder, which is what we're here to do. We're here to test the muscle. We're here to get stronger. We're here to improve. You know, it's nothing about ego. Look what I can do. Show off different things. I'm picking these exercises because I want to build bigger, stronger, healthier legs. Right, 30 seconds. Let's get a last bit of a drink and final set. You know, I've surprised myself a little bit today, earlier on, and I was like, oh, I've got a workout to do. You know, when you feel that kind of tiredness, it's like deep behind your eyes sort of thing. I felt like it all day, and work is sort of dragged a little bit today. The heat of where we were working, it was like sweating like crazy. I was like, really not feeling this workout today. And I was like, am I going to be able to get 5 sets? It's going to really drag. You know, sometimes you think, have I? And as the sets have gone on, it's kind of like, oh, actually, I'm not as bad as I thought. I've sort of kind of like just got into it a little bit. You know, and I've actually been sticking to the rest periods pretty much, so I'm quite happy with that. So, but this is the last set. Might have a little bit of extra rest. Actually, no, because I might do another. I said I wanted to do that banded one, but no, I'm doing the banded stuff for the hypertrophy days. We'll leave that there. But then again, I haven't done a banded weighted one too. Talking about not having any energy, and now again trying to make it harder. So right, last set. This one's going to be the chin-ups. Again, I don't know if you could see properly, those neutral grips in the chest to bar there are so much easier. Chin-up is easier, but then you'll find when you get to the top, sometimes it's a little bit harder on the wrist. So that can sort of test it too. But my hands are getting a bit sweaty now. Nice. That was hard. Didn't do it on the watch. Damn. Damn. That was good. Yeah, that was good. That was solid. That's the crazy thing in there. It's like, that's your workout there was like 25 minutes. But once you add in all the other stuff, you know. But then again, if I just went straight into a workout, just stuck the vest on and started doing a workout, there's no way I'd perform as well. So, you know, thing of the warm up is injury prevention to performance enhancer. In that regard of, you know, you never get people like Eddie Hall and that doing a deadlift workout or a 1 rep max sort of day, and they just put that weight straight on the bar. Of course they don't. They might start off with, well, with Eddie Hall, it probably starts on 100 kilos, but most people will start with a 20 on each side, and if they're working with maybe 200 plus kilos, first couple of sets up to 140, they're probably just loading a 20 on either side. Start off with 60, 100, 140, then they might add 10s on either side till they get up to a work set of maybe 200. You know, you don't just go straight there. So this is why we do that preparation, to get the muscles prepared, but also to let the body know, the mind, what's about to happen, and to do it. Like I said, if I went from just a few body weight and just stuck 20 kilos straight on, it'd probably be a bit of a shock, especially if I didn't do a warm-up test set with 20 kilos. I probably would struggle to maybe do the 5, and the first couple of sets would be shocking, and then it would ruin my other sets. Right, so guys, that's gonna be it for today. Next workout is going to be the hypertrophy workout. I'm gonna try and do my best to bring the video length down a little bit. I'm struggling with that because obviously with the warmth and all that sort of thing, and then the amount of sets with the amount of rest each time, there's a lot of work and a lot of volume in the workout that it's hard to get it down unless I cut out all of the rest periods. But if I end up doing that, all you're doing is just seeing someone do pull-ups or dips or handstands, and there's no context behind the video. You can, if you want to watch people do pull-ups or dips, you can easily find stuff like that in short bursts. It's more about the information, I think, of what's going on in the workout. It's probably spoken during the rest periods, but I'll try my best, whether it means shortening down the rest periods maybe. We'll try and work on that. But if you've got any suggestions for what you prefer to see with those workouts, make sure you comment down below. I'm always going to be looking for feedback, and if I can do it and adapt things, I will, and see how it works. And that'll be it, guys. I'll see you in the next video.